I wake up to a pounding on my door. Pale horse, pale horse, pale horse. I'm like, what's going on? You got to get out here, man. You got to see this. You got to see this. Hey, you remember us talking about that sacrifice? I'm like, uh-huh. And they're like, we got to go. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah. I'm racking my brain with all the FBI policy and everything that I know. And I'm like, it's a misdemeanor. I said, if you don't want me doing this, let me know. And I waited for what seemed like forever. No response at all. And I said, I leaned into the device and I went, well, looks like we're going in the woods.
This is Inside the Life with Giovanni and Dutch, produced by the Mob Museum. Giovanni, Rocco, and Dutch McAlpin are former police and federal task force operatives. They infiltrated drug cartels, outlaw motorcycle groups, and the mafia. Now, they share their stories, along with others who have gone inside the life.
Welcome back to Inside the Life with Giovanni and Dutch. On this episode, we sit down with Scott Payne, retired FBI agent, but more importantly, we're sitting down with Big Country. He's known to us as Big Country.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's easy to talk to. He's charismatic. Everybody loves Big Country.
Well,
everybody
it's country.
loves
It's country, right? We know country. We know country for years, and we're glad that you finally know country because this guy is a one-of-a-kind person. Country is a brother to us. He's family to us. I love him. I know you love him. We all love him in our program. He was a mentor to us. He taught Dutch and myself and so many other people that came through the school, the Undercover school that we went through in the training.
If anybody's a big fan of Big Country, Scott Payne, they know that he's been on a lot of very popular podcasts, many of them, but unique to Inside the Life because we all work together and know each other so well. We got to bring some things out of Big Country, Scott Payne, that you won't get to hear anywhere else.
He's bringing so much aware to the culture of this hate, culture of hate.
Yeah.
And it's hard for Scotty because Country is a man of faith.
I don't know how much public information has been released on like white supremacy and identifying what white supremacy is, and he's able to detail that there's different levels, there's different kinds, there's different belief systems. And still, like you said, if he hadn't had spirituality and faith like he does,
yeah,
maybe that would have been harder for somebody to do. You know, it could even be confusing, but he's able to stick to his morals.
Sometimes when you portray yourself to be a murderer for a murder for hire, as we both know, you could become very callous to things, you know. But he really was true to himself, and it's amazing to see the man I met so many years ago is still the man he is today. And he's a better man today. You know, he's on this side of it. So with that, it's an absolute pleasure for Dutch and I to introduce you, if you don't already know him, to introduce our brother, Scotty Payne, a.k.a. Big Country, on this episode of Inside the Life. Enjoy it, folks.
Very excited today to bring you Giovanni and I's good friend, former coworker, Scott Payne, Big Country, as we call him. The three of us have worked together. We know each other very well, and this truly is a great moment for the three of us to sit together. We had lived in the shadows of the covert world for so long, and now we're in front of the lights and the cameras, and it's your day to tell your story, buddy.
To think.
Yeah.
It wasn't that many years ago.
No.
We were deep undercover.
Right.
Only seeing each other in the shadows. Only seeing each other at the school.
Yeah. Not even knowing each other's real names sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we'll touch on a little bit of that, but, you know. But, man, it's an honor to have you. You know, your tremendous successes now with the book. It's just, you've been doing great, man. But let's just start in, like, your great career before you even got to where we are today, you know.
I was a real cop first.
Yeah,
that's important.
Yeah, for me it is.
It's important to define that.
Yes, it is, especially when you're around other cops. Yeah. You know, I learned that in New York City real quick. That was my first office in the FBI, and I would go, and the detective would introduce me, whichever NYPD detective I would be with. He'd go, "Hey, yo, this is Scott, Big Country, whatever. He's on the FBI, you know." And everybody go, "How you doing?"
Yeah.
And he go, "No. He was on the job before." And they go, "Oh, how you doing?" Yeah. So I mean, I threw it out right out the back. Real cop first, Greenville County Sheriff's Office, South Carolina. I did 3 years in uniform, as we all did uniform, and then 2 years vice narcotics, and then I got scooped up by the FBI.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you did what? Regular patrol. You did a little bit of narcotics. When did the SWAT come in?
I was already pretty tactical at the sheriff's office, but I didn't do SWAT. Once I got in the FBI.
Okay, so that
I started doing those building blocks: firearms instructor certification, SWAT certification. Then I go back and get tactical instructor, and then defensive tactics and active shooter and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I've heard you talk a lot, Scott, and I know this to be true. And I hear a lot of pride in you say, "First, I was a good case agent."
Yes,
you know, and to differentiate when you say real cop, we're teasing. the federal police and the state police, local police, everybody's in law enforcement.
Tough crowd.
Yeah, it's a tough crowd. So just not to take away from them, you start out as a
not.
deputy sheriff. He's been through a lot. You've done a lot of things, and you take a lot of pride in coming from the street before you went to the federal side, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think it's very important. And for me, I don't think I could have been as good of as undercover as I was without having the knowledge of being a case agent.
Yeah.
And it all just flows. It's just getting more well-rounded, getting more skills.
So you started working on crim squads, as we call them, criminal squads in the FBI? You came off the new agent squad. You wind up, what was your area? Like, what did you work?
Colombian Drug Squad, pre-9/11, 22nd floor at 26 Fed in Manhattan. Half of the floor, and these are big floors, by the way. These are New York buildings, not normal-sized buildings. Half the floor was organized crime, the other half was drugs.
Okay.
So, yeah, I even had my fair share of sitting on mob wires.
Wiretaps?
Yeah, with the big reel-to-reel. Like you're taking
right.
the big tape decks over to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Yeah.
And when did you have a fascination? I know where it started in narcotics days, but when did you decide you wanted to do UC work, undercover work, covert ops?
Yeah, it really the bug bit me at the sheriff's office level. And I had great mentors. One of my mentors was the world's strongest man in the late 80s, former Marine, Force Recon, and he had done some task force stuff and went deep undercover in biker gangs. Well, I was already that biker type. Man, I just like a moth to a flame. Any undercover movie there is, as cheesy as it is, I watch them. I love them.
Country, and while we're talking about that, and Giovanni, of course, or on another episode of Inside of Life, we interviewed Terry Rancorn, who we all know and love too and appreciate. And if you could, this is really how we all met. We like to talk about the undercover program and how unique it is and how specific it is. You know what I mean? That's where we all met. Can you kind of talk about that process a little bit and what it's like to
become an undercover?
Well, yeah, because, your fascination was you had this biker thing, you wanted to work undercover, but what's it take in the FBI for you guys to get to the point where you can work undercover?
That's a great question. So for the viewers out there, I had this idea. At my sheriff's office, you go to the state, you get certified in undercover techniques. But how many times can you buy in a medium-sized county, shave your beard, grow your hair, change your clothes, cars, before everybody knows who you are? And I always thought, man, wouldn't it be cool? And we're talking mid-90s. I said, wouldn't it be cool if the state of South Carolina knew who all the undercovers were, and maybe Charleston, South Carolina needs a biker guy for the weekend? And then you could. So when I got in the bureau, I kind of found out that's what we kind of do.
Yeah.
You get certified, and we've got people all over the United States. But not to get into the minutia, because I was actually doing undercover in the bureau, and I even did a full-time undercover for a year before I ever became certified, because we were talking about that SAC approval. But once I tried to get a slot in the school. It's not easy. You have to sit down with an undercover coordinator. You got to go through all kinds of stuff. You'll go to Safeguard, which is the psychological assessment section of the undercover program. And you go through all these tests just to be considered for the top 40 slots, because there's only 20 slots for the school, but you keep a backup 20 in case somebody falls out. And inevitably, every time we would run them, I was started role playing at that school at 2003 and teaching and stuff all the way to 2021 when I retired. But at that first Monday morning, you always have somebody walk up and go, I don't think this is for me. And you're like, after everything we've been through, how can you not? So if you get lucky enough to get through all that, blessed enough to get through all that, and you get a slot in the school, well, now it's on, because you got 2 weeks with no days off, huge on sleep deprivation, huge. And you see people crack.
Oh, listen, you see them psychologically crack, physically crack. I see guys go out. We've seen guys evac out in helicopters.
So the first time I role played, I went back and I was in one of the scenarios. And there's some mafia stuff, and you know which one I'm talking about. I'm just not giving it away. But there's some mafia stuff going on, and then it used to be a black gang, because that was the other stuff that was kind of prevalent at the time. At some point, they kick in the door. Well, I was role-playing for the first time in Quantico, and I'm in the scenario as a role player. But when that door kicked open and the big brothers came through it, I about crapped my pants. And then I was like, oh, no. And then I went, wait a minute. I'm on their team this time, you know?
Well, it's kind of how I felt. Listen, when I went in and you were a role player at my class, and I walked in and looked at you, and I looked at other guys like you, I'm used to bikers, but now I'm in this role, knowing that I'm around these seasoned undercovers and these seasoned operatives that are just going to beat the ever-living hell out of me. They're going to beat me psychologically. If I mess up, a guy like you is going to have me off my feet, choking me. You know, it's intimidating as hell. It's intimidating.
We try to keep it real. I tell all kinds of people, because there's been those that didn't make it. And they're like, it's hazing. I said, it's not hazing.
No.
I said, knock on wood, we have never lost a certified undercover FBI agent or task force officer.
Wow.
Never. Yeah. There was a guy that did get killed. He's on the murder wall, and it was a UC buy, but to my understanding, he was not certified. Yeah. So there's a reason for that. And everybody, I mean, you could be the best case agent in the world, you could be the best firearms instructor in the world, but you might not be cut out for undercover.
Yeah. I think we have so much between the three of us, relationship wise and professional wise, and we want to stay on task. At the school, I think we could all agree probably Giovanni ended up going down the La Cosa Nostra. You did a lot of biker gang stuff. You did this, but ultimately your place was in the mafia. And at some point, you know, you left the biker world. You went to the mafia world. Right. You obviously leaned toward the biker world. Another thing that happened in the school is we networked together. We learned how to use each other. We start to figure out who fits where, like you said.
Yeah.
And at some point,
to make it real.
Yep. Yeah. You got the bikers and the white supremacists. The white supremacists was a priority. They were considered domestic terrorist groups, right?
Yep.
And we all had responsibility to investigate those.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlottesville was kind of the turning point for the FBI. You know, it's a big machine, so everybody can poke at stuff and get upset about stuff. But of course, post 9/11, all kinds of funding going to international terrorism. So even though domestic terrorism is being worked off of the Joint Terrorism Task Force, it wasn't getting a whole lot of backing and surge of resources and money. But once Charlottesville happened, it started opening eyes, and more cases started getting open.
Yeah,
there's a big protest in Virginia. Lots of there was a few militia types, but most of them are white supremacists. Aryan Nation. There was like Traditionalist Workers Party, but it's the ones where you see groups of people going down the street with picket signs yelling racial slurs.
Right.
And it's not that way today, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But there was a lady, Heather. She was there as a counter protester, and she got ran over by a white supremacist and killed.
Okay.
Yeah, just drove into the crowd.
It kind of elevated them up on a priority list. Then, right now, all of a sudden, we're not going to walk around pickets. We're going to
and then if you're
plan
in that,
and commit acts of violence.
Yeah, and if you're in that online, in those chat rooms and the dark web, encrypted web, after that, you see people coming on and showing a stick and going, I shed blood at Charlottesville, you know, and I cracked the guy. And it's just badges of honor to help fuel more hate.
And, you know, I think knowing you and knowing that we're family, I know the heart you have, and I know you don't have any hate in your heart, right? You are the most loving one of the most loving human beings I know.
Wow.
You don't hate anybody on this planet.
You're going to make me cry.
What's that?
You're going to make me cry.
Don't cry now. We'll save that for later. But knowing how you are, and I'm just thinking now, because I know you stepped up and you decided, this is how I'm going. You kind of knew, like, all right, I'm going to do something. When they start picking UCs to go at these people, you're probably going to get involved because you're passionate about it. You're passionate about that subject. So you knew going in, you're going to take on this role that's going to be draining.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. So
when do you decide to participate in targeting those folks?
Well, I kind of went where my skill set led me. Then, as we've already said, like if you're looking at the landscape of the Bureau and what we're working, I mean, there's been times where it was a big deal for the, ELF and ALF and stuff like that, and they were burning down places. So we would bring in a bunch of people that were like vegans and stuff to try to get them in. Of course, I'm not going to that.
You're not a vegan.
No, they will smell the beef as soon as I walk in. Yeah, I'm sweating beef right now, and pork. But you see those things ebb and flow. But, I did the biker thing. I was doing some public corruption stuff, all the violent crime stuff, murder for hires. And then I was starting to become like this closer where I would come in and meet a white supremacist who needed a bomb or needed a gun. Yeah. But where I really started learning more is I switched as a case agent. After, the majority of my career was all criminal enterprise, gangs, violent crime. And most of my stuff were longer cases, those year to year and a half cases. Wiretaps, undercover ops, stuff like that. Well, there was some management issues for me where I was working, and I'm not a quitter, but I couldn't stay anymore. Right. I was taking years off my life. I was stressing so bad. So I went to the SAC, the head of the division, and I said, look, I'm stepping down from everything, undercover coordinator at all, and we started talking, and he knew I wanted off. So he switched me to Joint Terrorism Task Force, and I requested it because in my division, which was small, that was the only other squad that had an enterprise element and a reactive element. So in my mind, it kind of matched up. And I already had a good bit of knowledge about that stuff. But that's where I really started getting in. And now as a case agent, I'm going out and interviewing Aryan Nation members, and I'm doing this, and I'm learning more. And now I'm learning more about the ideology. And then the next thing you know, we're doing undercover ops out of my division, and I'm helping run them. And then the next thing you know, we're on the front line, and we're seeing everything that's coming off of these chat rooms.
Right.
So it's almost like shooting fish in a barrel.
You said something right there, and you said ideology, and I think it's important, as we all know, but the rest of the listening we won't know, is white supremacy has different levels.
Oh yeah.
There's the KKK or the Christian identists, for instance. It's a religious belief that they believe they are the chosen people of God and that they are given this right place. So can you kind of talk about, kind of as an expert, before we lead into your undercover part?
Yeah.
What's the different kinds of white supremacists? Because there's not just one blanket for them.
So it's a great question, and I did learn a lot of it, on the job training. But I also learned it, like I said, being a case agent, and I hate to say flip, because then everybody's gonna be like, "What's a snitch?" Like sources of information. But I'm talking to people who have been in the movement since they were a kid, and now they're like 30-something years old. Yeah. They've been through it all. So now I'm confirming all this stuff. So you mentioned KKK. It's historical. There's a lot of stuff there. I did infiltrate them. I got naturalized into them. It was pretty much like every scene from a movie. It was Django Unchained meets Oh Brother Where Art Thou, which meets like Bad Boys 2 and Harold and Kumar. I'm like, this is exactly what it is. Then you get, like you said, Christian identity, and they call it Church of Jesus Christ Christian.
Yep.
So, and I say this when I'm talking about paganism and the white supremacy as well. They're taking that and they're twisting the Christian belief. They're twisting it all kinds of ways to match their ideology. In other words, Christian identity takes the story of the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve. You got the fruit of the forbidden tree, and you got the serpent, and you got the betrayal.
Cain and Abel.
Right. So they say they got a dual seed theory, and they say, well, same story, except that the fruit of the forbidden tree is a sexual act, and that the serpent is a man of color, a.k.a. Satan. They have sex. From that, procreation is Cain, which they consider the non-white race all the way down.
Not given Adam, by God.
Yeah, and they consider them like, that's where you start getting into the lizard people because of the serpent and all this stuff. No souls, so it doesn't matter if you kill them or not.
Right.
And then the procreation of Adam and Eve was Abel, and that's the white race.
Right.
So you see stuff like that. Then you got into this thing where you start seeing the neo-Nazis and the skinheads.
Different again, right?
Yeah, and a lot more just violent. And the neo-Nazi is always about, hey, we want everything like Hitler. Hitler's the king. But you start going through that, and then you started seeing things change, like we were saying Nat-Soc, National Socialist Neo-Nazi 1.0. That'd be me. I'm all tatted up, Nat-Soc 2.0 were clean-cut white guys. There's this movement called entryism. They're trying to infiltrate the government. There's not a lot of forethought or afterthought with these people. It's like, hey, we're going to run for office. We're going to try to get in, and then once we're in there, we're going to flip everything.
Yeah.
You're trying to argue sanity with insanity.
Yeah, that's true.
Them guys are wild.
Yeah, that's true. So you go from that, they're clean cut. Now you start getting back into Nat-Soc again, neo-Nazi, but then we start getting into this, what's out there is prevalent now is this accelerationist movement. And it's also involving it's a nihilistic movement. Same thing, want to overthrow the government. So an accelerationist viewpoint is this. They don't believe there's a political solution for the white race. The entryism people did. But they don't believe there's a political solution to save the white race. They believe that society is going to collapse on its own or from man-made events, and they want to speed it up, hence accelerate it.
Right.
And they want to do it through guerrilla warfare tactics where it's like poison a water system over here, shoot an Antifa person over here, power grid, all this stuff, just to create chaos. So when you see times in our country where towns are being burnt down and it's lawless and stuff, if you're an accelerationist, you're sitting up on the hill with all your weapons.
What you want.
Absolutely. You're sitting up there clapping, going, keep killing each other.
Fall apart, and they
come down.
They think they're going to bring it back together.
Yeah, we're going to come down and create an ethno-state.
It's free to believe anything you want to believe.
Oh, you can walk out in the street and say whatever you want.
When you become an extremist and you radicalize it and you put a plan into place, now you become dangerous.
Yeah.
But it's dangerous as an investigator too, because as you're investigating these cases, the opportunity rises. They're going to jump on that opportunity, so you don't know when they're bloodthirsty or they're thirsty for the opportunity. So as a case agent, you're like, it's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah,
right. You don't know when. When they're like strike.
So in the States, because I do a lot of interviews overseas and stuff. I'm like, in the United States, we got a constitution. You got freedom of speech. You can walk out in the street and say, I hate all, insert racial slur. I hope all racial slurs die. As long as you're not doing overt acts in furtherance of harming somebody or breaking the law, then you can do that.
Right. Which then makes you a target of an FBI investigation if you meet all 3 points of those, right?
Right. And then, but picture how vigilant you've got to be as investigators, as law enforcement officers, when you go into, I mean, I was in one group for like 5 months. I even met up with them. We went shooting and stuff. I went through every single post for 5 months because I didn't want to miss anything. And there were hundreds of people in this group. I would go to sleep for 6 hours. I'd be like 1,500 to 2,000 posts behind, but I didn't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
But after 5 months, I'm like, they're just talk. It's some of the most horrific stuff you can read and see. But
protected, First Amendment, move on, right?
Yeah.
Man. And how was it when you say that you go shooting with them? You have to be on pins and needles. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like I refer to it kind of like playing with a rattlesnake. You're like, man, look at that thing. It's so gorgeous. It bites you. You're like, oh, wow. I mean, picture being under with these people, and you know the talks we've been having out in the field. You know what we've been training for, but we got to go to the liquor store. And you walk in the liquor store, and it's an Asian man running the counter, and it's filled with black people. And in my mind, I'm going, oh, please don't break bad in here, because I'm going to have to intervene.
Good point.
I mean, you're walking on eggshells.
Yep.
Because you're like, it could go off at any minute.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought about that. I also have been in some white supremacist stuff, and you kind of have a look in uniform, right?
Yep.
If you're lucky, you're in a group that isn't as identifiable. Like I definitely did a skinhead case, so I'm walking around with a shaved head. I look like a skinhead.
Yeah.
That's an uncomfortable life to walk in. You know what I mean? I'm flying into Detroit, and I look like a skinhead, and I got to drive over to the next state. The danger isn't.
Stopped?
Yeah, the danger.
You get stopped by a cop.
Yeah, or the danger isn't necessarily just from the bad guys. Everybody hates a white supremacist.
Yeah.
You're walking around looking like a white supremacist. You could get whacked out by a different kind of gang. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That hates you because you're them. So you got a lot of elements of danger.
Yeah. You got to change it. You got to be on pins and needles a lot of times.
Sure. Yes, but you touched on something really important, because it's the bad guys that are looking at you, but it's also the good guys.
Yeah.
Because the law enforcement looks at you from a protective standpoint, and they see you drive by with a car of 4 guys that look like you, and you're in a car with the bad guy. This cop's doing his job. He pulls you over. He starts peppering you. He gets your ID. Maybe you haven't told
Where
these.
are you
the
boys
targets.
going?
Right. Yeah.
Where are you headed tonight?
And you haven't shared your true identity or your false
You got to
false
stay
ID.
within your cover.
Oh, yeah.
Man. You can't break cover and tell him you're a cop.
Yeah, for every case I ever did, I mean, now don't get me wrong. If something bad's happened, even on the stings we did where we're trying to recover human trafficked people,
Right.
At some point, I mean, look, man, hey, I'm the law.
Yeah.
Put your clothes back. There's stuff like that.
Yes.
Or if somebody's getting ready to get killed.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're always. You talk about Cherry Rankhorn. I permanently borrowed this line from him. I don't like to say steal, but we're playing a chess game.
Right.
You got to stay. We're trying to stay
it's
5
human
moves
chess.
ahead.
Yeah.
And you're just wondering, and you're going. You're like, man, okay, what else could happen?
Yep.
Basically, I'm serving something to you, and whether you want to think it's tennis or whatever, you're going to be sending something back to me. I don't know where it's going yet, but I got to be ready.
Yeah.
I got to be ready to respond.
That's a good way to think about it. That's the game.
Here
huh?
I am going, let's go.
Yeah, but it's not easy because, I think about it as you're saying it. We never touched on here, but you have to be good with your God, too. You got to be good with your religion, because you're done in a second. Yeah. I mean, this could end for you. It can go horribly wrong, as we know, because in the school we had to listen to other officers lose their lives on tapes.
Yes.
So, you're trying to process this, trying to all these spinning dishes, right, as we call them. You're spinning 12 dishes at the same time. You're trying to keep
my faith is huge.
Your life.
It's huge throughout the book, which is actually what made me pick the editor. I'm interviewing possible. We're taking a pitch. We're trying to get picked up. So I'm talking to all these different editors, and the one that did the book, he picked up in the pitch on my faith, and he said, is that something that's later in life, or is it all throughout? I said, no, it's all throughout. I said, trust me, I've swayed. I've done some dumb stuff.
Well, let's throw that out there real quick. That Big Country, Scott Payne, is a New York Times best-selling national author.
International
author.
Selling author. Codename Pale Horse. All the other Undercover cool titles were taken, as you well know.
Yes, I do. Yes.
It's like in too deep.
Giovanni's ring.
You're like Giovanni's ring. I'm like, all right, that's good. So Pale Horse was my code name in this big accelerationist group. So we chose codename Pale Horse because that's who I was.
Well, let's talk about your group then, because we talked about the Ku Klux Klan a little bid, and we give kind of a baseline of what white supremacy kind of is, if anyone can really figure it out. Let's talk about your group of white supremacists. What'd they look like? What'd they act like? What'd they do? Where'd they live? Like,
we had all kinds. We had some that looked the goth look, not necessarily skinhead, but goth. The black BDU pants, 8-inch bloused into 8-inch tactical boots with some extreme black metal, satanic band tank top on. Shaved head around the side, long hair down to your butt, kind of thing. But I also saw like frumpy maybe kind of geeky looking guys. There were some in the group that were pretending, per their own words, to be a normal citizen, who had an IT job, dressed normal, 9 to 5, but when that wasn't going on, it was plotting. So this is that accelerationist movement I'm talking about. Here's what I'll say. I infiltrated the base in around July of 2019. We took them down January of 2020. It was a very, very fast-paced 7 months. It was like being on a roller coaster. But when we started, and I say we as Department of Justice and law enforcement, when we started looking into the accelerationism stuff, when the base and Adam Waffen were there, it was kind of considered cringe and all these other channels of white nationalists. Well, by the end of 2020 and beginning of 21, over 90% of all your white nationalist groups are accelerationists.
Yeah. What predicated this group? Like, because I think for some people don't understand, we don't just go out and just hunt down and decide who we're going to investigate. There has to be a process met. Like, okay, we're going to write a group 1 undercover on this. We're going to take this to the next level.
And it's got to go through all the legal, and especially when you're looking at First Amendment protected speech.
Right.
So it's
particularly.
It's got to go through the fine-tooth comb. For this particular case, we were being reached out to by our world working partners because you can have that phone now, and you can be talking to somebody in Norway now, you know? So it's not just in the United States. But our partners overseas were getting people that were being approached by the base. And then they were, between them and us, we were able to figure out that the majority of the base was in the United States and that the leader of the base was an American citizen, former Army, former Villanova grad, wasn't posting crazy stuff then. I don't know what happened and where his red pill moment happened, but he flips. And then by the time I infiltrated, he was residing in St. Petersburg, Russia, with a Russian wife and Russian kids, and he created the base.
What is the base, country?
So, first of all, let's talk about the strangely coincidental, Al-Qaeda, translated to English, is the base.
Interesting.
Al-Qaeda's MO was 3 to 5 man cells, CELL, because I know I got a country accent. CELL, my sales. What are they selling? But 3 to 5 man cells all over the world, training, waiting for that phone call for D-Day. The MO for the base, 3 to 5 man cells all over the world, training for what they were calling the Boogaloo, which is D-Day, race war. So we were getting all that. And it was coming in, and I was on the cusp of it, and I said, you know what, I'm free, I can do it. And they were like, we'd love for you to do it, kind of thing, and we all agreed. And I went on to Gab, and they were posting on Gab, and it was picture militia meets doomsday prepper meets a white supremacy group.
Okay.
That's what it is. So they're coming off as like, hey, we're a survivalist group, we train, save your race, join the base. Those accelerationist groups, huge on what they call stickering, postering, flyering. In other words, we go down the street, and on the way back up, you're spraying the glue, and I'm smacking the sheet on there. On that sheet's the QR code. You scan that QR code with your phone, takes you straight to a BitChute video that's a propaganda recruitment video to bring people to us.
Very much
and I was in a lot of those videos. Yeah, I was in a lot of those videos.
I mean, that actually sounds pretty modern. Yeah. That's a little advanced for a white supremacy group.
Very. And the rule for the base was every new propaganda video had to be better than the last one. So I go on and I answer.
Social media.
Yeah. And I go on and I go, okay, hey man, I really like what you guys are saying. You know, you have to keep training. I'm saying things like that we would say in the training field, you know? Right. And then I start getting emails. So for about a week and a half, I'm answering emails through Proton Email, and I start looking at the times. The only time this stuff responds, and I go, what time is it in Russia? And I'm going, this is Nazaro. This is the leader. I was betting that it was Nazaro answering my emails. So after I pass all those in-depth questions, my height, weight, my ethnicity, my heritage, what can I bring to the table, all this stuff. When did I join the movement? What have I done kind of stuff. Then it's like, hey, we want you to download the Wire app, which is similar to WhatsApp. It's just harder to use, but you can make phone calls. You can do group calls. You can have your own chat rooms, DM and everything. I was told to download the Wire app, and
you were told by members of the base
by Nazaro.
By Nazaro himself.
And he's the predicated target?
He's Ronaldo, and there's several others that we're seeing saying some crazy stuff. Like all of our online covert employees and stuff, they were looking and they're like, man, this person named TMB, the Militant Buddhist, they are posting some insane stuff. So much so that if you were in those groups normally the other people will say, hey, that's Fed talk. Why are you talking Fed? In other words, you're saying so much horrific stuff that you're going to bring the feds on us. Or they'll say, you're glowing.
They're saying that to you?
No, they're saying that to like somebody that talks too much.
Okay,
so we were thinking, looking at TMB, we're like, I wonder if this dude's a cop somewhere trying to infiltrate this group, because I can't think of who else would be saying something that crazy. So go back to Nazzaro. I get on a call. I do about an hour and 15-minute panel interview on a call. There's probably like 4 or 5 people on it asking me questions, telling me. That's when I find out what accelerationists believe. The siege culture, which is based on the book Siege by James Mason, who created Adam Waffen, all that guerrilla warfare stuff, and none of this walking down the street with picket signs. They don't believe in any of that because, number one, they said it doesn't do any good. Number two, it makes you a target, and everybody knows who you are. What are you doing?
Working in the shadows.
Yeah, work in the shadows. Have that 38 come up, pop them in the back of the head, walk off.
Yeah.
Doesn't leave brass, stuff like that. So we talked about that. I did that hour and 15-minute interview, and here's what's crazy. He gives you a 24-hour rest period. He's like, okay, you got 24 hours because now you know what we're about, to really think about is this something you really want to join. And he gives us 24 hours to talk about whether we want you in. And to his word, 24 hours later, I got a ding message.
Like an invite?
Yeah, that said, we'd like to have you. And I said, I'd love to be in. From there, they go, where are you at? I said, I'm in East Tennessee. They said, the closest cell to you is in North Georgia. We're going to put you in touch with that cell leader. Guess who that cell leader was?
Who?
TMB.
Really?
The militant Buddhist.
Right.
We had no idea. And it was like, holy crap, this is the guy. So I go down there, and then you know how it goes. Once you get in, you start identifying more people. Next thing you know, there's domestic terrorism cases opened all over the United States, because even if it's only 50 members, but there's one in Detroit, there's one in New York, there's one in Atlanta. You're opening a case for every one of them.
And why? Because, dude, you have so much information in your head, and we got to.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So, no, it's okay, buddy. I love you, buddy.
Steer me. Yeah.
No, but you're talking about we got terrorist cases open. Why? What is their intent or their goal? Like, were they planning to do acts of violence? Are they planning to blow something up? Like we're taught about First Amendment protected.
Yep.
In order to open a terrorism case on them, they had to have what?
We have to have, so it can just be that a boatload of people are reporting that these people are going to do something bad.
Okay.
That's enough predication. So,
but they had all agreed to do something bad.
Yeah, or at least spewed something or somebody reported on them saying, hey, this person's planning on doing something bad.
Okay.
But the predication's there. And sometimes we're just being proactive. Like, again, like I said a minute ago, I've gone in and we're undercover for 4 to 6 months, and it's like, they're not doing nothing illegal.
Some is just building intelligence.
Yeah,
not every op is to put somebody in jail.
Exactly.
Right. So that's what a lot of people think. We just get deployed to put people in jail. No, it's to build intelligence.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And that's the big counter argument to entrapment. The undercover technique is considered a sophisticated investigative technique in the Bureau. It is very intrusive, but it is such a good technique, and the evidence is always so overwhelming. Yep. The only thing the defense can do is try to make you look bad on the stand or claim entrapment. And if you've done your job, you can thwart entrapment quickly, which is where that predication comes in. Yeah.
So you got the base. You're invited in.
Yep. So I started learning this. So you asked what I saw. I saw a lot of young, and especially in this movement in particular, because Patriot Front people joined, Adam Waffen people joined. We were kind of like an umbrella group. Green Brigade, Sonnencraig. There were people from all over. But the common theme I saw was this, and I'm not saying it's across the board this way, but the common theme I saw was a lot of younger guys. They've been bullied, they're social outcasts, and they can't get a partner. And they go into their bedroom at night, and they stay on that phone all night looking for a place they can belong. Because as humans, I know there's people who say, I don't like people and I'd rather be by myself all day. Maybe. Yeah. I'm still calling a little BS, because as humans, we're built to want to belong.
Yeah. Belong and comfort.
Yeah. And it goes back to the cult and gangs and everything else. It's like we're going to pick somebody from the flock that's a straggler and from a broken home and really wants to belong.
Yeah. At the top of this, so you're basically describing these, weaker isn't the word, but lower self-esteem. They don't have certain skill sets, but someone is running the indoctrination of them, right?
Yeah.
Someone's like putting this extremism, this radicalism in their brain.
On all sides of extremism, a boatload of radicalization is happening online.
Okay.
Radicalization of teens online. So I get into the group, and as I already said, I'm the lead tactical and defensive tactics instructor for my division. I run all the training, so I'm not a bad shot at all. I went out there, and a 19-year-old kid led carbine and training and tactics, and it was good.
It was good.
It was good.
Oh,
it scared me.
That is kind of scary
because I was like, it wasn't the best, but it was good, and I'm like, how did you get this skill set? Gaming. And going with his dad to the range. Yeah. He didn't go in the military. He hadn't been professionally trained by anybody. But as any typical 19-year-old with testosterone full of piss and vinegar thinks they know everything, the kid was good. But you talk about being scared. If you could see the aerial footage, when we first went out there to shoot, they're all here. I'm standing way back here because I know why. I'm not standing in front of them, man. Yep. I want to see how they handle the weapons. But I couldn't come in there as this tactical guru. I had to go in there as just a country guy that
because you're coming as an older guy too, right? You're coming. So again, it's the ingratiation component. You're not their age. You're older than them. Your size is imposing, so they're looking at you as a benefit that way, and they're looking at you kind of as a mentor. I would imagine at some point to see are you the older generation of this hate that we belong to? Right. What could you bring? So now it's like you're there to learn from these 19-year-olds. Right.
Yeah.
But they think they're going to learn something from you. Did you come across that?
Yeah. But it's a liability issue.
Right.
Number one, I don't want to make them better.
Yeah, right.
If they're planning on harming innocent people. But yeah, I had to but they had the verbiage. Like, it'd be like, hey, okay, you slice the pie. And I'd be like, I said, what'd you call that? And they'd go, okay, so when am I slicing? And they go, slice the pie. And I go, oh. And I'd be like, oh, so when I'm slicing the pie, now I can use the verbiage I always use.
Yeah. They're doing CQB. They're doing CQB training.
Absolutely.
And it's not bad, huh?
Not bad. I mean, that kid can shoot fast and accurate with an AR. Adderall may have something to do with that. They like that.
And I know for you, it's killing you to throw a shot. You don't want to throw a shot. I know it's killing you.
I know.
To miss it.
I still hit it. Yeah.
That one was like,
I know.
I don't pick this up fast.
I know. I don't want those training scars because then the next time I go to shoot for real, I'm going to shoot bad. As an instructor, I'm going to be like, what is going on? So you get into that. Again, a lot of these kids. Now, we did have some 20-somethings. We had some 30-somethings in there, former military. And the leader, Nazaro, was 44. So I went in at 44.
Yeah.
It's the first alias I ever made myself younger on. I was finally that old to where I was 48 when I went in. So I backed myself up to 44.
Really?
Because for me, it was in my mind, it made it easier because I graduated college in 93. It would just mean that I graduated high school in 93.
Okay.
So the music's kind of still the same and all that. Yeah. Yeah, because I don't need to be getting tripped up on it. Carry the twos.
Hey, what's
that dadgummit?
All right, so with that, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Scotty Payne. So we're back here with Scotty Payne on Inside the Life. Scott, we were just right before the break, we were talking about how you were just ingratiating yourself into this group and you were going to the shooting range and just trying to become one and trying to open up a dialogue with these guys.
Yeah.
How did it really blow open?
Well, again, you're trying to just gain trust and find out. We're being proactive to find out, are they planning on do something? Have they taken any steps to do something illegal? You're starting to hear some crazy talk, though. And they were all claiming pagan, so I was claiming pagan. But again, I've got friends who are pagan. I love them. They love me. They're very peaceful. They've taken the paganism thing and twisted it to white supremacy. So we started doing some blots. And I'd go down there, and they would take wood and carve runes in it, but they would also carve swastikas. So there's a little bit of a conflict of interest there. You cut yourself and bleed on it, and then set it on fire, and you pray until the fire goes out. All kinds of stuff like that.
You did that? You cut yourself and bled on some wood and burned it?
Yeah, dadgummit.
That's called a blot? A blot?
It's a blot. The worship ceremony in paganism is BLOT, a blot.
Okay.
Blot.
So, if you watch Vikings, you'll see them do blots and stuff, but it goes deeper than that. But so again, ingratiating, learning some stuff, and then let's just fast forward. We get to Halloween of 2019, and I'm now a pretty well-known member. I'm teaching you had to bring something to the table, so I'm doing hand-to-hand combat, but I wasn't teaching them how to hurt somebody. Just some basic get off the ground moves, some grappling moves. And we're out there. It's basically a hate camp. And we're shooting. Everybody's got ghost guns that they've made. But again, a lot of these guys in the group definitely didn't have a steady job. Didn't have a car, but they've got the same plate carrier system we carry in the FBI.
What's that? $600-$800 at least.
Cry precision.
Yep.
With the plate. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. That's what I said. I was like, I could literally have gone and taken my FBI kit and just pulled the FBI stuff off and walked out there and been fine.
They got no jobs, but they're kitted out well.
They stock their money and they build, and they got all the ammo because you're building your kit for D-Day.
Running optics on their guns.
Yeah. So there was one guy had a 6.5 Creedmoor, $6,000 thermal scope.
With no job.
He had a job.
Okay.
He was one. He was a former Army guy. But in the midst of all this, we have a member that's in Canada. His name is Patrick. So Patrick goes out and he's putting out flyers. Somebody answers him. He goes through this person goes through the same thing I went through, and then they do the face-to-face vetting. And Pat says he's okay. So this guy's in the main group for about a week, and then he pulls chocks. It turns out that it was a journalist, Ryan Thorpe, out of Canada, that had went out there just to do it. So, look, I get getting a story, but you talk about dangerous.
Yeah.
You have no cover. You're not law enforcement. You're going to meet somebody who's talking about killing his own dad. He says, when the D-Day happens, when the boogaloo happens, if you're not fascist, you're automatically anti-fascist, and the penalty is death. I may very well have to shoot my dad in the head.
Wow.
He said that on more than one occasion. And then you start seeing other members going, well, I could kill my dad, but I wouldn't want to. I'd cry every day, so I'd get somebody else to do it. And you have somebody else that goes, well, I'm not that far along. You know, just crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And just speaking that into existence, that's not good, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing all that. We're learning all this stuff. So Pat, once he gets doxxed up there, because Ryan comes out with an article, I can't remember if it was the Toronto Star or whatever, but it comes out, and now Pat was basically our version of Army National Guard up there. So he's military trained.
He's in Canada, and he's okay. I got
So now he gets doxxed. He gets booted from that. RCMP shows up at his house, takes guns. Now his parents want to disown him. He's lost his job. So the last thing we know is he disappears. And they got a picture of his red Dodge Ram sitting at the border, and he's gone.
From Canada into the United States.
So we're thinking, okay, he's come in with the base. And there were some unbelievable case agents and AUSAs on this case, specifically the Baltimore crew. And they started tracking, and we were still trying to find them. And they were like, we think he's down at the farm, just based on all the phone analysis and stuff they were doing. And I went down.
The farm is the place in Georgia?
Rome, Georgia. I went down there, and I pulled up, and I saw a bunch of bodies, and I counted them, and I didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't tell. I was like, there's an extra person there. And I went walking up, and as soon as he started talking, he'd already grown out a red, bushy beard and long hair, but as soon as he started talking, it's Canadian.
So is he wanted? Is he a fugitive?
Yeah.
Is he in the country illegally?
He's in the country illegally. He's absconded illegally into the United States.
Did you guys figure out how he got in?
Yeah, the base. He got picked up by a guy in up in the he's either in Wisconsin or Michigan or somewhere like that. He gets picked up, brought down, gets put with a guy who went by the code name Can't Go Back. This is the guy with the $6,000 scope. And then he drives down. They had him housed at what they were calling a stash location, I think in Maryland.
Like a safe house.
Yeah. And then he was getting too much heat, and that's when they brought him to the barn. So he lived in a horse stall probably for like 4 to 6 months.
Why did they want him? Was he good at something? Did he have something to offer, or just another member?
Another member, but he claimed, and it was even put in the newspapers and stuff, that he was trained in bombs and stuff like that, military trained. And,
they believed he was.
They looked at him as a big deal.
Yeah,
really, they were.
So, but I mean, I would go and we would train, and I would hang with these guys for hours and days, sitting under the awning of the barn and just drinking and talking, and I mean, some of the most insane, crazy stuff you could see. But I'm still somewhere in there finding some human. You know, I try not to dehumanize. I don't do it in the book because even in the tactical world, it's like, hey, if we run down there and we shoot bad guy, we've stopped the killing. We got to move right to stopping the dying. Right. That may mean the only person I'm working on is the person I just shot.
Right.
We got to do that.
Right.
What did that human side look like? Was it their friendship that kind of?
Yeah, or just the rough life they'd had, and that need to belong. Yeah. But yeah, once you start crossing that line and wanting to kill people and all this stuff,
yeah, you're done.
You know, put a bullet. You know, they would say like a coal burner is what they'd go like. I want to take a coal burner, a white woman that sleeps with a man of color, put her up on the wall and drive my shotgun in her mouth and blow her head off. You know, stuff like that.
Man. Yeah, but it's rough. But I think looking back on our training and being sleep deprived, that's why, because this gets tiring. It gets tiring on the human psyche. It gets tired on a physical being. It gets tiring being in this. When you're not one of them and you have to pretend to be one of them,
Listen to that.
It's draining, man.
Yeah.
It's draining.
Yeah.
And it does wear on you. So there's those moments of you start to see a glimpse of, oh, man, I feel bad for this kid. Now I see where, if I could have only met him when he was 12, I could have pulled him out of this.
Or
you know what
it
I mean?
could have been me. Not necessarily on the white supremacist stuff, but the biker stuff, man, I was like, yeah, man, that could have been me, 100%.
Yeah, all the
time.
So,
and at the end of the day, it's still somebody's kid.
Yep.
It could be somebody's brother.
Yeah.
It could be somebody's parent, loved one.
But the end of that was, give them enough time, like the mob did and like everybody who infiltrated. Just give them enough time. They'll remind you and they'll do something to say something. To quickly remind you what sociopath and absolute lunatics they are.
Yeah.
And why we're on a mission we are to infiltrate them.
So I'll get back to the Halloween thing.
Yep.
So the Halloween thing, we're going to be holding a block. It's going to be 4 days of training. So we train during the day. We do hand-to-hand stuff, and then this wicked cold front comes in. It dropped like 50 degrees, and it was the first cold day of the year, so you're not acclimated. I actually went to Walmart and had to buy a base layer because I didn't realize it was going to get that cold. So I'm in the truck after training, a couple of drinks, fire, and I'm charging my phone. And I doze off for a second, and I wake up to a pounding on my door. Pale horse, pale horse, pale horse. I'm like, what's going on? You got to get out here, man. You got to see this. You got to see this. Hey, you remember us talking about that sacrifice? I'm like, uh-huh. And they're like, we got a goat. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah. So I get out. They have gone not even a mile basically down the road. Guy has 3 goats in his backyard. I passed it every time I went there and left there. They stole one. Luckily, nobody got hurt because the guy actually came out while they were in the backyard. They're all dressed with balaclavas to hide your identity. It's all fleck tarn camo because the fleck tarn pattern is actually German. It's the German pattern.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
they look scary.
Right. Yeah. With machine guns, submachine guns.
They're armed and they're stealing a goat.
Yeah.
How'd they get it? Like lasso it or something?
Yeah, I guess. Picked it up. I don't know. They threw it in the back of Can't Go Back's truck. So I go out there.
How you catching goat?
I don't know. I was sleeping. I don't know.
All right.
But I'm there and I'm going, okay. And now Eisen is going to be leading this block. And I remember one of the guys. He was a pretty big dude. He's like, man, this thing's crapping all over the place. And I'm like, well, hell, I'd be crapping too if a bunch of Neanderthals with balaclavas and fleck tarn jerked me out of a yard with submachine guns, threw me in the back of a truck. So as I see like Eisen like praying over this goat, talking to it, he's already named it. He named it Gar. Because his middle name is Garfield after his grandfather Garfield. And I'm like, all right, we're naming the animals now. Okay, all right. So I'll go up to him and I go, hey, it's just me and him. I go, is it bad that I feel sorry for the goat? And he's like, don't let the goat hear you say that.
Is this a pagan thing to kill the goat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, wow. So he goes,
I didn't know that.
So he goes, he says, this goat needs to know it's loved. It's going to Valhalla. It's a sacrifice to Odin. This is a blessing for the goat.
Okay.
And don't let anybody else we don't need any negativity around this goat. So me being the jovial lead, I go, I'm just going to push that baseball down. I ain't going to bring it back up again. I'm just going to push it under the water. And I go to my listening device. And I'm talking because at that point I was out for 4 days at this farm. So I'm covered for 4 days. They found in a building somewhere. They've set up a plane. They got generators. They're doing shifts. FBI, local police, they're doing shifts.
They got like a react team or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
Quick response, QRT, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Which goodness gracious, they could be 2 SWAT teams on the other side of that
They ain't
door.
gonna make it in time.
10 shots could be fired before they even turn the handle.
Makes everybody feel good.
It makes you feel, you can come avenge my death, or watch me hang on. Get this one, I'm still hanging on.
You got the goat.
I got it.
I got the goat.
I'm running with the goat. Yeah. So I lean into the listening device and I go, hey, if you guys can hear me, I said, I'm pretty sure we're getting ready to go down. They just stole this animal out of somebody's yard. And I said, I think we're getting ready to go down here and kill this thing. And I said, I'm racking my brain with all the FBI policy and everything that I know. And I'm like, it's a misdemeanor. I said, if you don't want me doing this, let me know.
Do we have authority?
Yeah. I said, if you don't want me doing it, let me know. And I waited for what seemed like forever. No response at all. And I said, I leaned into the device and I went, well, looks like we're going in the woods. So we go down the woods, carry this goat down there. The sacrifice did not go well. We're all in a circle. And this is where that twisted ideology comes in. In Norse mythology, the wild hunt is essentially Odin, the god Odin, going out with some other gods and just laying the smack down to all their opponents. Well, in the version of the wild hunt for the base, It was going to be this sacrifice was going to start the wild hunt, but the wild hunt for us was going to be ridding the world of anti-fascists, especially Jews and non-whites. And that was going to be the start of it. Mm. And this was going to be a sacrifice to it. So we're all in a circle around the goat on our knees, said the prayers. Eisen comes back with a big blade. It's kind of like a machete, but a little bit bigger. He's practiced swinging. He rears back with all his might. He's a pretty stocky kid. And I'm holding the back legs of the goat. He hits it right on the back of the neck, thinking he's going to chop his head off. All you heard was a loud thunk. Oh, no. And the goat went, bah, and I went, oh, crap. I don't even know if it broke a hair. I don't know if the blade was dull, the back strap of the goat was too thick, but I'm holding the back of the goat, and I'm just picturing this bloodshed getting ready to happen. Well, somebody says, do it again. It might take twice. It might take 2 times. And then somebody says, does anybody have a gun? The rules were we weren't supposed to bring any weapons to the holy site.
Okay.
One guy said, I got my gun. That guy, out of everybody out there, was the least qualified person to be holding a weapon.
Oh, God.
To even to the point where TMB was like, what are you doing with the weapon? Because TMB, they were pretty, like TMB and Pestilence, they ran a pretty tight range, which made me comfortable, safety-wise. So we get the gun. They hand it to Eisen. Eisen chambers around, points the gun at the goat, and then turns his head. And when he turned his head, that's when the instructor in me came out. Because we're all in a circle on our knees, and I go, whoa, 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 whoa. And he's like, what? And I go, dude, we're all on our knees in a circle. Yeah. Look at what you're shooting at.
Yeah.
You're going to shoot us. So then he puts one in his head. You hear it on the recording, thump. It kicks for like 2 more minutes. I know it's probably some after things, you know, twitching. But I said, hey, why don't you go ahead and put another bullet in it? You know, make sure it's dead.
Mercy.
Yeah, make sure it's dead. And he goes, I'm pretty sure it's dead. I said, well, you know, for the love of the goat, you know, because we want it to be happy with Odin. We don't want Odin getting a mad goat.
Yeah.
You know. And then I think I'm done, right? No, we're not done. Now they slice the throat of the goat. They fill up a cup full of blood.
Jesus.
And they're all still on their knees. And it's in the middle of the woods. It's pitch black. It's a 100-acre property. And I'm shining the flashlight because Eisen decided to bring a sheet of acid to help with the spiritual shaman. They're really just going to get high. So not everybody did it, but almost everybody did. So we're going around. I'm shining the light. He tears the tab off, puts it under tongue, and you chase it with the blood of the goat.
How'd you get out of doing it?
The acid?
Yeah. That's a fair question, right?
Yeah. Well,
your turn.
I know. Luckily, I'd already I did the hand-to-hand combat that day, and I handled them pretty good. Even the 350-pound one, which I was concerned about. I'm like, I don't know if I can flip this dude off of me or not. But I told him, because Pestilence is like, hey, I'm like a professional psychedelic user. You should really try this, Pale Horse. You're going to love it. And I said, listen, I'm just going to tell you all, don't, any of you, put any drops of that shit, try to sneak anything on me. You have no idea what's in my brain. You have no idea what I've done.
You'll open up.
And I said, and all I'm telling you is if you give me that stuff and I go on a bad trip, every single one of you sons of bitches is going on it with me.
Yeah.
And that's when one of the big dudes was like, hey, man, nobody
don't give country none of that.
Don't put nothing in Pale Horse's drink.
Pale Horse.
So that's how I got out of that one. Yeah. But I'm going around, and now we get to me. And now it's my turn to drink the blood. By this time, it's clotted. It's coagulated. It's all chunky. And I'm looking down at that thing, and Dutch and Giovanni, I'm like, I don't want to drink this. I'm like, and I look, and I think it was Pestilence. I'm like, it's all clotted. And then I think Pestilence says, hey, you can just, so I dipped 2 fingers deep in the blood, sucked all the blood off my finger. Luckily, I'd carried a beer down there, so I washed it down with that. But then they commenced to chopping the head off. There's infamous photos that were all over the Guardian, the BBC, and Canada News and American News where we're all together.
All hooded up.
With all with the flag. Yeah, the OPSEC is crazy. I mean, like, before we even do a picture, it's like, hey, Dutch, your beard's sticking out. Let me tuck it in for you. Because nobody wants to get doxxed. So pretty strict on that, and we're all holding the goat. And they named it Gar, and, TMB ends up cleaning the skull, has swastikas and runes drawn on it on his little altar in his bedroom. And on this side of the skull is, on this side of Gar's skull is Mein Kampf book, Hitler. And on the other side is the book Siege by James Mason. So after that weekend, the second day of training was shot because they were all still high. But by Saturday, we're back training again, and now we're filming more for propaganda videos.
Did you spend a night there the night they took the acid? You stay there at the base of them?
Yep.
You said you were there 4 days, right?
Did they start getting weird?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm a little weirder. I mean, they just
most of them were just
goat blood's pretty weird.
most of them were just staring at the fire.
Kind of got in their own space.
And then me, I'm having fun. I'm taking Gar's head and I'm going, "What are you doing? Why did you do this to me?"
Right. While they're tripping out.
Yeah, while they're tripping.
Trying to ruin their trip.
Yeah, I'm like, it's funny, right? No, nothing.
No.
I see you.
Yeah. I'll give you nightmares.
But so on Saturday night, we go down and back to the holy spot. We're doing all kinds of filming for the propaganda video, torches and stuff like that. And we build a bonfire. We're burning American flags and holy Bibles. While everybody's yelling death to America, F your Jewish God, all this stuff, because we're starting the wild hunt. And
I know that you're a very spiritual person.
Yeah.
I know you have a strong belief. You said they're burning Bibles, and I don't know how that would make you feel, but things that happen when you're working undercover is you do uncompromising things without compromising yourself sometimes. Did you have to burn the Bible? Were you okay with that?
I helped burn the flag
Okay.
because the guy that was trying to throw it in the fire almost fell in it, which hindsight, I probably should have just let him fall in the fire. But, at the time, I'm undercover being a team player. I did not actually put the Bibles in there. But let me tell you something crazy. Well, not crazy for me because I'm a believer. But, if you've been to a bonfire, it goes up, it dies down. If you've ever seen like a magazine or you see the pages are kind of like a little ruffled on the side if it's been in the fire. Well, one of the members, Pat, he starts stoking, his code name is Punish Snake. He's stoking the coals, get the fire back open. Boom, a Bible flips open. Pages aren't burned at all. And everybody's like, what? What the heck? And then he starts tearing it, and I'm like, I remember. And then I even went back and watched the propaganda video. You see them open face laying the pages down on the fire. So he starts ripping page by page, gets the bonfire going again. It's going, got a nice fire for a while. It starts dying down again. He starts stoking the coals again. I'll be damned if another Bible doesn't flip open and it's not burnt. And at that point, one of the members says, man, these effing Bibles just won't burn. And at that point, in my head, I didn't do it out loud, but I did like a little Sammy Sosa.
Yep, exactly.
I was like, I'm picking up what you're putting down, And I've heard science stuff. They're like, well, a lot of Bibles pages are made of clay. They don't burn, whatever. I saw all kinds of stuff burn. You stick with what you want.
You stick with your faith.
I wish I could have seen what book was, it was open to,
what
what passage was,
Yeah.
But I do actually have a picture because I was taking pictures just like they were. And it's in the book. If you blow it up, I was sitting on my phone one night, traveling, doing what we do. And I was looking at this picture of a fire, and I go, why don't I take a picture of the fire? And I blew it up, and right in the middle of the flames, you can see Holy Bible.
Really?
Right in the middle. So that's it was a pretty awesome thing. And then after that night, that's when I gained more trust. Yeah. And that's when we started undercover. That's when we started uncovering multiple murder plots.
Okay.
The Georgia crew had picked out what they believed was an Antifa couple out of Atlanta. We cased the house numerous times, started with different plans, but you talk about sophisticated and modern.
Mm-hmm.
These are kids, 21, 19, maybe a 30-something in there. But the ones that are planning it, TMB, 21, Pestilence, 19, Helter Skelter's probably like late 20s. It ended up being this. They had codes. Like if they sent 37F, that meant camping trip. The camping trip meant we were going to kill somebody. If it was 37C, that means we're going to meet to talk about it. All these codes, so nobody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, something as simple as, no, don't write that on that pad because it'll indent. You write it over here, just a single sheet kind of thing. But it was going to end with, we were going to go to a campsite. We were going to leave all our digital footprint there. We were going to go to a motel by the hour, pay by the hour, take a loofah, scrub all our dead skin. This is the research they had done. This is the plan they came up with. Scrub all the dead skin off so we don't have any DNA left. You will tape your, like WMD, you're going to tape your sleeves to your gloves. You're going to tape your pants to your boots. Make sure the balaclava's all the way around. Vaseline on eyebrows and facial hair so you don't leave anything. Yeah. And they had bought bag catchers. These are overt acts in furtherance of, right? They bought bag catchers for the ARs. So when you shoot, the brass goes in the catcher. They had made a silencer for the pistol to hopefully kill the couple with. Wow. We were going to go in. Myself and TMB were going to go down and kill everybody. Pestilence was going to set the house on fire while Helter Skelter covered the front window.
Why did they want to kill these people so bad?
They're
that
anti-fascist. Yeah, anti-fascist. And you got to realize, I mean, I know you guys do, but hate begets hate.
Yeah.
When a white supremacist, if you're in the group, gets doxxed, you get things like how many more of our brothers have to fall with no retaliation. So that just drives more hate over here.
Yeah.
And hate begets hate.
Yep.
So we uncovered those. Meanwhile, we're uncovering, I was able to slow that plot down, thankfully, because I was able to point out to TMB, look at how thorough your instructions are to go put up stickers versus we're just going to go kill somebody. You ain't even been by the house, nothing. I'm like, why are you so good over here? And this is, what's the haste? Why are you so trying? And he's like, I'm just tired of waiting. And that's when I threw out that I'm a site survey specialist. And I said, you know what? This is what I do for a living. I go, I can find out everything about that house. Who's in it? How many people are listening? I said, while I'm doing this, and I slowed it down. The meantime, the cell that was up in Delaware and the Maryland area, they were thinking that the January gun rights rally in Virginia was going to be the start of the boogaloo. And FBI had done a Title III wiretap, and we're getting videos and recordings of this apartment of these two guys, Punished Snake and Can't Go Back. And you want to talk about some of the craziest shit you've ever heard.
Really?
They were talking about, what if we break out the Saints? So they refer to these mass shooters who are white supremacists as Saints. So in the tactical world, we don't like to say their name because we don't want to give them any credit. I'll name every victim, but let's just say this. The Charleston shooter that killed 9 black people, on the anniversary of that shooting, Happy Saint, his name.
Really?
The Tree of Life massacre, which I was just with Eradicate Hate Global Summit, that's all because of that. And they'll say, Happy Saint, that shooter's name.
Well, let's talk about those two guys real quick. It sounds like they're the most critical ones. They're the ones you need to stop. They're probably moving toward doing something so extreme. What was their life like? Did they have jobs? Did they have any part of their life together? Were they good guys? Were they the good shooters?
So real quick, we'll stop right there. It's a perfect time for a break, and then we'll get right back into it. So welcome back. We're going to continue on with Scott Payne, big country in our world. So how does this case that we're talking about, how does it finally close out before we get into the others?
So again, I mean, you know how it is. Sometimes you just go where the case takes you, but when all the stars and the planets align, you know, and you're just like, it's divine intervention for me. But I'm sitting there and I'm now traveling back and forth trying to get that final piece of evidence to make an airtight case. As I said, we had a wiretap on Can't Go Back and Punished Snake. Their backgrounds weren't that bad. Punished Snake is the Canadian. So he was, I mean, he had a job. He was in the military. Somewhere he went probably from libertarian to something further, and they call it your red pill moment. So in a Christian belief system, it'd be like when you got saved. And you can't just be in that movement and not know what your red pill moment. They take it from the movie Matrix, but when you get the red pill, you get to see everything that's happening. Or you take the blue pill and you're just oblivious to what's going on. So, which is very comical because the scene has Lawrence Fishburne in it, who's not a white man, but whatever, if that's what you want to base your stuff off of. But that red pill moment. So we're finding out that they're talking about breaking out Saints. They have this thermal scope, which in his mind leveled the playing field, because if he wasn't that great of a sniper, at least he could see you and you couldn't see him in the night. They were talking about shooting cops. Where like, because if you kill a cop after a car stop or whatever, or they're sitting over there doing a report and you kill them, what do you get automatically? A bulletproof vest? Yeah, no, you get bulletproof vest.
Shit.
You get guns. You get to keep building your kit. Maybe even a radio system. So they're doing all this stuff. And it was just coming down to where we were trying to get everything because we didn't know if they were going to go that next week to the gun rally. And we were getting ready to meet to do the murders. And we were able to, with all the teams that were involved, we were able to pull it off. So it starts on a Wednesday. I played a ruse. I went and picked Luke, TMB, up off of his 100-acre property because I figured it'd be easier for a arrest if they were in the car with me and we're off. Right. SWAT team hit us. They take him down. They get Pestilence. They get Helter Skelter. And then we lay low, keep everything quiet because Thursday morning, SWAT teams hit the Maryland and Delaware crews. Okay. And then after that, it starts unfolding. So by Friday, I'm still in the group, and it's like now the affidavits are starting to come out. It says that we've been infiltrated by a Fed undercover. It says it's Fed undercover, and everybody's like, who is the undercover? And everybody's like, so it goes to about 5 o'clock on Friday, and then Nazzaro, the leader, who went by Roman Reigns, that's a wrestler. I apologize, Roman. He went by Norman Spears and Roman Wolf. And he comes on, and at that point he was Roman Wolf. And he comes on and he says, I don't know if we could have done anything to figure him out. because he's one of our best members. And I'm like, oh, he knows it's me now because he's gone back. He knows when I was interviewed, and he keeps track of all that. And he said this, and this. He said in hindsight, he came to every meeting, which should have been a red flag, but I didn't. He got that part wrong. And then it says, you've been removed by Roman Wolf. So I screenshot that and sent it to every case team and headquarters and said, I'm out.
I'm out. Done.
You were with TMB when the SWAT team took you guys down?
Yeah.
Did he know right then and there that you were the source?
I don't think so.
Undercover? I just wondered what that moment was like. Was like, country, holy shit.
Because he probably figured it out pretty quick, because what happened is I feigned something was wrong with my truck.
Yeah.
So we pull out, and I'm like, did you hear that? He goes, yeah. Man, if this down, I said, if I got another frozen caliper, which I had on the truck, I said, I'm going to be pissed. So I pull up to where his door's close to a fence.
You can't get out.
Can't get open.
And then I get out and walk around the back, and as I'm looking, a truck pulls up. It's FBI, but he didn't know it. And he goes, hey, man, you need some help? And I look up and I go, holy crap, it's you. What are you doing here, man? He goes, what are you doing here? I go, what are the odds that you're back here? I'm not like we never seen each other for a while. And I go, man, this is a nice truck. And as I'm walking up to that, Luke's focused on us, Bearcat with the SWAT teams coming over the hill.
Oh, wow.
So as he's looking at us, I jump in the back simultaneously. Truck pulls up. Let me stay your hand. Whatever their commands are, I'm diving in the back of the Dodge Ram, and I'm like, go, and we get out of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he knew who you were.
Yeah. Pretty quickly, I'm sure.
You took off though.
I jumped in that
SWAT
truck. Yes. So that truck that pulled up, that act like it was a friend.
They were just going to help you.
That was an FBI guy.
Yeah. I got you. They
just
got
out
you
to
out
say
there.
hello.
Yeah. So we did it that way, just to kind of cause a distraction.
Yeah.
And I jumped in and we pulled out of there. But man, according to them, we stopped a bunch of murders on that one. And to parlay off of that, now like I said earlier, you start seeing that accelerationist ideology is now 90% plus.
Yeah.
Well, now it's even expanded, because out there today are groups like 764. Well, they're not necessarily white supremacists. They are like Order of Nine Angles. Order of Nine Angles is satanic. It is very dark. It is white supremacy. But you start seeing that parlay into some of these nihilistic extremist groups like 764, and what they're doing is they still same belief system as far as we want society to collapse. We want to speed it up. So they are accelerationists, but not necessarily white supremacists. But 764, huge on pedophilia, animal torture, torturing yourself. They just got a guy out of Germany, and he's got murders under his belt, allegedly. Yeah. Where they go online, and a lot of them are teen boys, and they get them to do something sexually online in a chat group, and then they start extorting them. And now they've got people, and they've got kids. They do live chat watches. They call it a bean cut. Like if you take a Navy bean and you cut it open, you know how that white's there. Well, if you cut through your meat and it's fat, that's what it looks like. So they've got a point system. It's the sickest stuff.
Man.
They got people cutting themselves on live camera for watch parties. They got people harming animals.
What's
child abuse, 764.
Okay.
But there's other ones out there. And they are having people take their own lives.
Yeah.
And snuffing themselves and stuff.
So, and again, educate our listeners and our fan base. Like, what's the recruitment like? Is it all online? Is it gaming? Is it,
I'd say both of those. Yeah. So gaming's huge. Like I tell people, I just spoke, like I said, at Eradicate Hate Global Summit. And what I said was, are your kids playing Roblox and Minecraft? Awesome. Are your kids on the headset while they're playing those? Awesome. But you need to know who your kids are talking to. Yeah. I'm not saying those are bad places. Like Discord's not for all bad stuff, but bad people go there to do stuff.
Country, and I remember working this stuff too. And I'm hearing you talk about it, and it's kind of bringing me back a little bit. And I remember when I had to read that and study that and try to understand the 14 words and 88 precepts and all these hateful things, it starts to eat at you, right? I mean, it can be very uncomfortable because you don't believe that way, but you're just hearing it and swarmed with it and bothered with it.
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah,
You're
I
all
am.
right? Because you're tired
faith,
now.
Yeah, I'm not always all right, but my faith, after that 4-day weekend of drinking goat's blood and everything else, I came back and I was feeling dirty, man. I text my pastor. I'm like, I need a little prayer, man. I'm feeling not clean, being around all the darker spirits.
Well, listen, I'm sitting here talking about it, and I know I'm familiar with it, but I'm like, I'm good with my mob, guys. Right now, I feel like I have to take a shower after listening to you.
Seriously, right? Put me back in the basement at gunpoint with at least,
put me back in the basement.
I'll take that over drinking the goat blood. Yeah.
Right.
But yes, it's just crazy times. But a lot of it's happening online, and it's worldwide.
Yeah.
And it's just sick people. That's why I try to tell people. I'm like, look, because I've talked to all kinds of, just like you. I know you have, but you get out here and now we're retired and we're meeting more people. I just start the conversation when we're talking about like my background and stuff. I go, you just need to understand that there are evil people on this planet that want to do evil things to get people.
Yeah.
And it's been that way pretty much since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
I don't want you to walk around on eggshells scared to death, but maybe keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
And be happy that there are people out there, not to sound like Jack Nicholson, but on that wall. And we need them. Yeah,
it's absolutely true. I think, it makes me think of the training we went through and the brotherhood we had. We talk about it, and the sisterhood we had in our unit. Our unit, for me at least, I'm not going to get like down a road of faith, but the times we went to training, I wasn't sure. I talk about it in some of the episodes where we stayed up late as instructors because we weren't sure when's the last time I'm going to see Scotty. Maybe you don't see Giovanni again. We spent every second at training when we're supposed to prep other guys and we're training a new class to come in. But when the school session died for the day, we stayed up all night but again, for me, that brotherhood and that sense of what we were sacrificing, truly, I look at our training, the cultural, we had to understand every culture, every race, every religion, right? We had to be familiar with all of it in case we had to infiltrate in any day.
Yep.
I think that brought me personally closer to my faith. And when you're in these things, man, when you come out of them, there's these moments of when you have a moment with him.
Yeah.
And I go, man, thank you. Thank you for keeping my head attached to my shoulders. All right, great. I'm glad I survived this. I'm glad. But what's next?
Yeah, exactly.
What's next?
Yeah, I know.
What's the next one?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Almost died twice.
Yeah.
What's next?
But what's next? And what was next after that? Did you have anything else, or did you transition into retirement?
So actually, when the base case ended, that's when I thought I was going to work to 57. That's the cutoff in the FBI. I was about 50 years old, or 49, whatever, 50, somewhere in there. But we were down in Phoenix, 2020. So it's February of 2020. So we'd just taken it down. It was my birthday. And we were out, we were putting on training down there, and we were out, and I don't remember what the conversation was, but I just remember this like feeling. And what I said in my head was, I'm satisfied with my career. Now, it doesn't mean that I've been it all and done it all. It just means that, and I've never, ever said that in my head.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, and I let it marinate, and then I was like, you know what? Let me start looking at these numbers if I retire. Can I retire? And I punched out. Now I will say I did a lot of malicious stuff because I was still Mr. Domestic Terrorism in my division. And J6 happens, and I mean I was in a pretty big militia group. We were out doing stuff every weekend because we're trying to find out if they're actually planning to do something bad. Yeah, I did that. I did a couple of more like murder for hire things that were crazy. Actually, they hired us. They thought we were bikers. They hired us to do 4 home invasions and murder 2 people. But I still did a good bit.
Yeah, you did.
And then I punched out.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
You know what? I think it's important when you know.
Yeah.
If you want to leave with any sanity back and your health with you, then when you hit that red pill moment, like I said, I'm done. I got enough. I'm satisfied. And with that, we got to wrap it up. Big Country, Scott Payne, thanks for coming on Inside the Life with me and Giovanni.
Love you, boys.
Man, I love you so much,
bro.
I really
do,
man. I'll say it right out in public. I love you, man.
I love you too,
Thank you for everything. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your patriotism. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your family's dedication to what you've given to our country, bro. Yeah. And the intel that you brought, risking your life, bringing it. Good luck with the book, Pale Horse. I know Codename Pale Horse is doing great. I know there's so many more things coming your way, Scott, and I wish you all the best success.
I appreciate it, man. I'm still staying plugged. I still teach and speak, try to spread knowledge, and I still try to learn.
Yeah.
So pay it forward.
Yeah. And with that, that's this episode of Inside the Life with Scotty Payne. Thanks for watching.
For behind-the-scenes photos, merchandise, and exclusive content, visit InsideTheLife.org. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get podcasts.